Marcus Kane stood at the large window of New Chicago Spaceport, watching the busy traffic of ships coming and going. His 8-year-old daughter, Katie, pressed her small face against the glass beside him, her breath making tiny fog circles on the surface. "Look, Daddy, that one looks like a giant fish," Katie said, pointing at a curved transport ship that was slowly landing on Pad 7. Marcus smiled and ruffled her brown hair. "It does look like a fish. Maybe it swims through space, instead of flying." Katie giggled at the silly idea. She had been excited about this trip for weeks. They were going to visit her grandmother on Mars Colony, just the two of them. Linda, his wife, had to stay on Earth for work. But she had packed Katie's favorite stuffed rabbit and enough snacks for the 3-day journey. As Flight 447 to Mars Colony now boarding at Gate 12 came the announcement over the speakers. Marcus picked up their small travel bag and took Katie's hand. "That's us, sweetheart." "Ready for your first big space adventure?" "Yes." Katie bounced on her toes as they walked toward the gate. The boarding area was busy with families and business travelers. Marcus showed their tickets to the flight attendant, a friendly woman named Helen who smiled at Katie. "First time traveling to Mars, little one?" Helen asked. Katie nodded eagerly. "I'm going to see Grandma. She lives in a dome city under the ground." "That sounds wonderful. You'll love the view of the red planet from the observation deck." They found their seats on the passenger shuttle, called Starlight Express. It was a medium-sized ship that could carry about 200 people. Marcus helped Katie buckle her safety belt and showed her how to use the small entertainment screen. Attached to her seat, "The trip will take about 18 hours, Marcus explained. "We'll sleep for most of it, and when we wake up, we'll be at Mars." Katie was too excited to sit still. She kept looking out the small window as other passengers found their seats. There were families with children, elderly couples, and people traveling alone for business. Everyone seemed happy and relaxed. Captain Roy Stevens made an announcement over the ship's communication system. "Welcome aboard Starlight Express. We'll be departing in 10 minutes. Please make sure your seat belts are secure and your bags are stored properly." Marcus checked Katie's belt one more time and settled back. In his own seat, as a terraforming engineer, he had traveled through space many times. But he never got tired of the moment when a ship lifted off from Earth. The engines hummed to life. And slowly, the Starlight Express rose from the landing pad. Katie pressed, her face to the window, watching the Earth get smaller below them. The blue oceans and white clouds looked like a beautiful marble floating in space. "It's so pretty, Daddy," Katie whispered. "It is," Marcus agreed, "and Mars will be pretty too, just in a different way." After they left Earth's atmosphere, the ship prepared for its hyperspace jump. This was the part that made space travel so fast. Instead of taking months to reach Mars, they could get there in less than a day by jumping through hyperspace. "Ladies and gentlemen, we are preparing for hyperspace jump," Captain Stevens announced. "Please remain in your seats. You may feel a slight tingling sensation." Marcus had done this jump dozens of times. It usually felt like a small electric shock, and then everything would be normal again. But this time, something went wrong. Ship began to shake violently. The lights flickered on and off. Passengers started to look worried and hold on to their armrests. Katie grabbed Marcus's hand tightly. "Daddy, what's happening?" she asked, her voice scared. "I'm not sure, sweetheart, but everything will be okay." Marcus tried to sound calm, but he could tell this was not a normal jump. The shaking got worse. Bags fell from overhead compartments. Some passengers started to scream. Lights went out completely, leaving them in darkness. "Except for the emergency lighting," Captain Stevens' voice came over the speakers. But it was hard to understand because of static. "We are experiencing technical difficulties. Please remain your seats." Then came a sound Marcus had never heard before, like the entire ship was being torn apart. There was a bright flash of light that seemed to come from everywhere at once. Katie squeezed his hand so hard it hurt. She cried. Marcus reached for her with his other arm, trying to pull her close, but the light got brighter and brighter. He felt like he was falling, even though he was still in his seat. The sound became so loud he couldn't hear anything else then. Everything went silent and dark. Marcus woke up floating in space, wearing an emergency suit that had automatically activated. His head hurt badly, and he felt confused and sick. He looked around and saw pieces of the Starlight Express scattered in all directions. Some other passengers floated nearby, also in emergency suits. "Katie," he shouted into his suit's communication system. "Katie, where are you?" He turned in all directions, searching desperately among the floating debris and other survivors. He could see about 30 people who had survived the accident, but Katie was not among them. "Katie, can you hear me?" "Katie," a rescue ship arrived. Within an hour, they collected all the survivors and took them to the nearest space station. Marcus kept asking everyone if they had seen a little girl with brown hair, but no one had. The rescue team searched the debris field for 3 days, but they found no trace of Katie or the other missing passengers at the space station. Marcus sat in the medical bay with a blanket around his shoulders. A doctor named Amy Rodriguez tried to explain what had happened. "The hyperspace jump failed," she said gently.
"Ow."
"We don't know exactly where or how far, but you can find them, right?" Asked, "You have the technology to track where they went?" Dr. Rodriguez looked sad. "Mr. Kane, hyperspace accidents are very rare, but when they happen, the people who get scattered, you almost never find them. Space is too big, and they could be anywhere." Marcus stared at her. "You're telling me my daughter could be on any planet in the galaxy, and you're not going to look for her?" "We will search for as long as we can," Dr. Rodriguez promised. "But you need to understand how unlikely it is that we'll find her." Marcus stood up, still wrapped in the blanket. His whole body hurt, but not as much as his heart. "Then I'll find her myself." Dr. Rodriguez touched his arm gently. "Mr. Kane, I know this is hard to accept, but you don't understand," Marcus interrupted. "That's my little girl out there somewhere. She's probably scared and alone, waiting for me to come get her. I'm not going to just give up." He walked to the window and looked out at the stars. Millions and millions of them, each one possibly hiding the world where Katie had landed. It seemed impossible, but Marcus didn't care. He was her father, and fathers don't abandon their children. "I'm coming, Katie," he whispered to the stars. "No matter how long it takes, Daddy is coming to find you." 2 years had passed since the accident, and Marcus Kane had become a different man. His hair was now gray at the edges, and his face showed lines that hadn't been there before. He sat in a small cantina on Zephyr Station, studying star charts. On his portable computer, the station was busy with travelers from many different worlds. Blue-skinned Zephyrians walked past his table, their large eyes curious about the human who came here every few months. They were known for being very smart and logical, but they thought Marcus was crazy, still looking for the lost child. Asked Vex, a Zephyrian scientist who had talked to Marcus before. "My calculations show the chances are 1 in 47 billion. Marcus didn't look up from his charts. "I don't care about your math, but it is impossible," Vex said, sitting down across from him. "Space is too big. She could be anywhere or nowhere. Why do you not accept this and make a new life?"
"'Cause
"She's my daughter," Marcus said simply. Vex made a sound that might have been confusion. "Your species is strange. You do not understand this attachment to offspring once they are lost." Marcus finally looked at the alien. "Maybe that's why you're..." "People never explore beyond safe routes. You give up to isolate." Over the past 2 years, Marcus had visited 63 different worlds and space stations. He had sold everything he owned on Earth: his house, his car, his expensive terraforming equipment. His wife Linda had divorced him after the first year, saying she couldn't watch him destroy himself chasing ghosts. But Marcus had found things that kept him going. On Kepler Station, he met a trader named Sam Parker who told him about a human child seen on a mining world called Dust Rock. It turned out to be false. But Sam had been kind enough to give Marcus free passage to 3 other systems. On the ice world of Freon, Marcus discovered something that broke his heart but also gave him hope. There were dozens of lost children there, not just humans, but young aliens from many species. They lived in abandoned buildings and survived by working in dangerous mines. Most of them got lost during wars or accidents, explained Dr. Amy Rodriguez, a human scientist who ran a small medical clinic on Freon. Their families either died or couldn't find them. Marcus helped Dr. Rodriguez treat the sick children and gave them some of his remaining money for food and warm clothes. But Katie wasn't among them. "Have you seen her?" Marcus asked every child, showing them Katie's picture on his portable screen. Brown hair, about this tall now, very smart. None of them had seen her, but an alien child with 4 arms and green skin grabbed Marcus's sleeve. "Mister, there's a human girl on Sanctuary 7. She helps kids like us." Sanctuary 7 was a rough frontier world where criminals often hid from the law. Marcus spent 3 weeks there, searching through dangerous cities and wild lands. He found the human girl, but she was older than Katie and had been lost for 6 years. Still, she gave him valuable information. "There's a network," she told him. "Kids who help each other. We leave messages at certain places, trade information about safe worlds and dangerous ones." She showed Marcus a hidden message board in an old spaceport on Sanctuary 7. Dozens of notes were carved into the metal wall in different languages. Some asked for help finding family. Others warned about slave traders or hostile aliens. Few offered safe places to stay. Marcus studied every message carefully, but none were. From Katie, however, he learned something important. There were many more lost children in the galaxy than anyone realized, and they had created their own system to survive. Captain Roy Fletcher was a cargo hauler who had become Marcus's closest friend during his search. Roy was a tough man with scars on his hands and a kind heart he tried to hide. "You know I think you're crazy, right?" Roy said as they traveled toward the Outer Rim territories. His ship, the Heavy Lifter, wasn't fancy, but it was reliable. "Everyone thinks I'm crazy," Marcus replied. "But I also think you're the bravest man I've ever met," Roy continued. "Most people would have given up by now." "Most people aren't fathers," Marcus said. Roy was quiet for a moment. "I had a daughter once. Lost her to fever when she was 5. I know what it feels like. Then you know why I can't stop." On the desert world of Sahara Prime, Marcus met with a group of Corvin traders. Corvins were tall, gray-skinned people who valued strength and honor. They had offered Marcus a job with good pay and a comfortable life. "Join our trade guild," said Commander Nash, the leader of the Corvin group. "You have skills we need. Forget this hopeless quest and build something new." "I can't," Marcus said. "Why do you choose suffering over peace?" Nash asked. "Because peace without my daughter isn't really peace." The Corvin commander studied Marcus for a long time. "Your people are strange, but perhaps that is why you accomplish impossible things." "Very well. I will give you information about human children seen in the outer systems." The information led Marcus to a moon called Haven's Rest, where he found 3 human children who had been living with a kind alien family. They weren't Katie, but they had heard stories about a human girl who was leading a group of lost children. Somewhere beyond the known trade routes. "She's supposed to be really smart," one of the children told him. "The stories say she keeps everyone safe and helps them find food and places to hide." Marcus felt his heart beat faster. It sounded like something Katie would do. She had always been clever and caring, even as a little girl. Dr. Rodriguez had contacted him through the communication network. She was now working with lost children. "On 5 different worlds? Marcus, I've been thinking about what you're doing. You're not just looking for one child anymore, are you?" She was right. During his travels, Marcus had helped dozens of lost children. He had given them money, found them safe places to stay, and connected families that had been separated. It was becoming known throughout the outer worlds as someone who cared about lost kids. "The children call you the Searcher," Dr. Rodriguez told him. "They say you never give up, and you help anyone who needs it." "I just want to find Katie," Marcus said. "I know, but you're doing something bigger too. You're giving hope to children who had none." Marcus looked out at the stars from Roy Fletcher's ship. Somewhere out there, Katie was probably looking at the same stars. He wondered if she knew he was looking for her. He wondered if she was still the same happy little girl who had made fog circles on the spaceport window. "I'm still coming." "Katie," he whispered. "Daddy's still coming." Roy Fletcher heard him and put a friendly hand on his shoulder. "We'll find her, Marcus. Somehow, we'll find her." Marcus hoped Roy was right. 3 years of searching had shown him how big the galaxy really was, but it had also shown him something else. Humans never gave up on the people they loved.
Wow. That
Had to count for something. It had to be enough to bring Katie home. Marcus Kane floated in his spacesuit outside the abandoned research station called Deep Echo. The station had been empty for over 5 years, drifting at the edge of known space where few ships ever traveled. But Marcus had come here because of a message from a salvage crew who claimed they had found traces of human children. "Be careful in there, Captain." Roy Fletcher's voice crackled through the communication system from his ship. "That station lost power years ago. Could be dangerous." "Be fine," Marcus replied, using his suit's small thrusters to move toward the station's docking port. After 3 years of searching, he had learned to be careful, but never afraid. The station's corridors were dark and cold. Marcus used his helmet light to see as he moved through the empty rooms. Dust floated in the air, and some of the walls showed damage from small meteors that had hit the station over the years. He searched room after room, looking for any sign that children had been here. In what used to be the cafeteria, he found something that made his heart beat faster. Small handprints on one of the tables, too small to be from adults. Marcus kept searching. In a storage room near the back of the station, he found what he was looking for. A small device was hidden behind some boxes, a portable hologram recorder that still had power. His hands shook as he activated it. A blue light appeared in the air, and suddenly Katie was standing in front of him. She was older now, maybe 11. Years old and taller than he remembered. Her brown hair was longer and tied back with a piece of cloth. Her clothes were simple but clean. But her eyes were the same bright, intelligent eyes he remembered. "Hi, Daddy," the hologram said, and Marcus felt tears filling his eyes. "If you're watching this, it means you found one of my message stations. I knew you would never stop looking for me." Marcus reached out to touch the hologram, but his hand passed right through it. Katie continued talking. "I'm okay, Daddy. I know you're worried, but I'm safe. After the accident, I ended up on a world called New Haven with some other people from the ship. But slavers attacked the colony, and we had to run." Right. The hologram flickered slightly, but Katie's image remained clear. "I'm with Keeper Voss now. He's an old Etherian who takes care of lost children. There are 12 of us, humans, Zephyrians, even a young Corvin who got separated from his family. Keeper Voss teaches us how to survive and how to help each other." Marcus listened carefully to every word. His daughter was alive and helping other children, just like he had hoped. "We move from place to place because it's not safe to stay anywhere too long. There are bad people who hunt for children like us. But don't worry, Daddy. I learned from watching you work on your terraforming projects. I know how to build things and fix things." Katie smiled in the hologram, and Marcus saw that she had grown up faster than any child should have to. "I'm trying to build something special, Daddy. You always told me that when something is broken, we don't just fix it, we make it better than before. The galaxy is broken for children like us. There's nowhere safe to go, nowhere we can just be kids." The hologram paused for a moment, and Katie looked directly at where Marcus was standing, as if she could see him. "So I'm going to build us a home star, Daddy. It's like you taught me about when I was little. A place where no child ever has to be afraid or hungry or alone. I know it sounds impossible, but you always said humans do impossible things when they have to." Marcus felt his chest tighten with pride and sadness. His little girl was trying to solve the same problem he had discovered during his travels to many lost children with nowhere to go. "I left messages like this one at several stations along our route," Katie continued. "If you find them, you can follow where we've been. But Daddy, don't just follow us. Think bigger. All these children need help, not just me." The hologram started to fade as the device's power ran low. "Daddy, and I know Mama probably thinks I'm gone, but tell her I remember all the songs she sang to me. I sing them to the little ones when they're scared at night." Katie's image became very faint, but Marcus could still hear her voice. "Had to go. Now Keeper Voss says we need to move again. But Daddy, if you really want to find me, don't look for where I've been. Look for where I'm going. Look for the home star." The hologram disappeared, leaving Marcus alone in the dark storage room. He sat down heavily on one of the boxes and put his head in his hands. Katie was alive. She was safe. But more than that, she was doing something amazing. His daughter wasn't just surviving. She was leading. She was taking care of other lost children and dreaming of building them a permanent home. It was exactly what Marcus would have done in her situation. But it also meant his search had to change. For 3 years, he had been trying to find Katie so he could bring her home to Earth. Now he realized that Katie was already building her own home. And it wasn't on Earth. Marcus activated his communication system. "Roy, are you there?" "I'm here." "Marcus, did you find anything?" "I found everything," Marcus said, his voice filled with new determination. "Katie's alive, and she's trying to build a safe world for lost children. But she can't do it alone." "What are you thinking?" Marcus stood up and looked around the empty station. "I'm thinking it's time to stop just searching. Katie's right, we need to think bigger. These children don't need someone to find them. They need someone to build them a real home." "That sounds like an impossible job." "Good," Marcus replied. "I've gotten pretty good at impossible jobs." As Marcus made his way back to Roy's ship, his mind was already working on the problem. Katie wanted to build a homestar, a safe world. For lost children, she had the dream and the leadership skills. But she didn't have the resources or the knowledge to terraform an entire planet. But Marcus did. For the first time in 3 years. Marcus wasn't just following clues about where Katie had been. He was planning where they would go together. He was going to help his daughter build the impossible. A world where no child would ever be lost again. "I'm still coming, Katie," he said to the stars. "But now I'm bringing help." Marcus Kane stood on the bridge of a massive construction ship, looking down at the empty world below. The planet had no name yet, just a number Kepler-4 for it to be. It was the right size and distance from its star to support life, but it had no atmosphere, no water, and no plants. It was just a ball of rock floating in space. "You're really going to do this?" Captain Roy Fletcher said, shaking his head in amazement. "You're going to build an entire world from nothing." "Katie needs a homestar," Marcus replied. "And there are thousands of lost children out there who need it too." The past year had been the busiest of Marcus's life. After finding Katie's message, he had contacted everyone he had met during his 3-year search. He told them about his plan to build a sanctuary world for displaced children. Most people thought he was crazy. The Galactic Council said it was impossible. The cost would be enormous. And terraforming a dead planet usually took 50 years or more. But something unexpected happened. People started to help. Dr. Amy Rodriguez was the first to join him. She had been working with lost children on several worlds and understood the need for a safe place. "I can design the medical facilities and help plan the cities," she told Marcus. Sam Parker, the trader who had helped Marcus during his search, brought engineering skills. "I've seen enough lost kids to know this needs to happen," Sam said. "I'll handle the atmospheric processors." Captain Fletcher provided transportation and logistics. "Someone has to keep you from working yourself to death," he said with a gruff smile. The biggest surprise came from the alien species Marcus had met, the Zephyrians, who had called his search mathematically impossible, became interested in the mathematical challenge of terraforming a world so quickly. "The calculations are fascinating," said Vex, the Zephyrian scientist. "If we can solve this problem, it will advance terraforming science by decades." The Corvin Empire was impressed by the boldness of the project. Commander Nash arrived with 3 cargo ships full of construction materials. "Your species continues to surprise us," he told Marcus. "We wish to see if humans can truly accomplish the impossible." Even the mystical Etherians joined the project. "We sense great rightness in this undertaking," their representative said. "Lost children create disturbances in the universal flow. A sanctuary world will bring balance." The work was incredibly difficult. Marcus had to coordinate hundreds of people from dozens of different species, each with their own way of doing things. The Zephyrians wanted everything planned perfectly before starting. The Corvins wanted to begin construction immediately. The humans wanted to do a little of everything at once. This is like trying to conduct an orchestra where everyone plays different instruments and speaks different languages. Dr. Rodriguez said during one particularly difficult planning meeting. "Then we'll learn to make music together," Marcus replied. "The first step was creating an atmosphere." Massive atmospheric processors were built on the planet's surface. These machines would take carbon dioxide from the planet's thin air and rocks, add oxygen from ice deposits, and slowly build breathable air. Sam Parker worked 18-hour days supervising the processor construction. Normal terraforming takes 50 years because people are patient, he explained to Marcus. We're going to do it in 5 years because we're desperate. While the atmosphere was being built, other teams worked on bringing water to the planet. Ice asteroids were captured and melted, creating the first lakes and rivers. The Zephyrians calculated exactly where to place each lake for the best weather patterns. Dr. Rodriguez designed the first city, which would be built in a valley near the largest lake. It needs to feel safe but not crowded, she explained. These children have been through trauma. They need space to heal. The city was unlike anything built before. It had schools designed for children from many different species, hospitals that could treat both human and alien medical needs, and parks where different types of beings could play together safely. Marcus worked almost constantly, but he was not alone. Messages started arriving from across the galaxy. Lost children had heard about the Sanctuary World project, and they were trying to reach the system. 18 children arrived this week, Captain Fletcher reported during a construction meeting. They're living in the temporary shelters, but they're helping with the work. Marcus felt proud and worried at the same time. The children were arriving faster than the world was being built, but seeing their excitement and hope kept everyone motivated to work harder. The biggest challenge came when they tried to create plant life. Earth plants wouldn't grow in the alien soil. Zephyrian plants needed different minerals. Corvin vegetation required specific fungal partnerships. We need to create a completely new ecosystem, said Dr. Beth Cooper, a biologist who had joined the project. Plants that can work together, even though they come from different worlds. The solution came from an unexpected source. Some of the lost children who had arrived early were helping in the biology labs. A young Etherean girl named Mist suggested combining seeds from different worlds in the same soil. On my home world, we plant everything together, Mist explained. Different plants help each other grow. The experiment worked. Mixed gardens grew faster and stronger than anyone expected. Soon, the first forests were spreading across the planet's surface. 2 years after construction began, the world had breathable air, flowing water, and growing plants. The first permanent city was finished, and children from across the galaxy were calling it home. Marcus stood in the city's central park, watching human children play with young Zephyrians, Corvins, and Ethereans. They were laughing together, creating games that worked for different types of beings. The Galactic Council wants to make an official statement about the project, Dr. Rodriguez told him. They're calling it the greatest terraforming achievement in galactic history, Marcus smiled, but kept watching the children. What are they going to call the world? Children voted, Dr. Rodriguez said. They want to call it Haven. Haven, Marcus repeated. Katie would like that name. Roy Fletcher joined them in the park. Speaking of Katie, I've got news. My contacts in the Outer Rim say there's a group of children led by a human girl heading this way. They should arrive within the month. Marcus felt his heart beat faster. After 4 years of searching and building, Katie was finally coming home. But this wasn't the same home he had planned to give her when this all started. This was better. It was the home she had dreamed of building herself. Are you ready to see her again? Dr. Rodriguez asked gently. Marcus looked around at the city they had built, at the children playing together, at the forests growing under an alien sky. Think we both are. Marcus Kane stood at the landing pad of Haven City, watching the morning sky for approaching ships. It had been exactly 4 years since the hyperspace accident that took Katie away from him. Today, if Captain Roy Fletcher's information was correct, she would finally come home. The city around him was alive with activity. Children from dozens of different species walked to school together, their voices mixing in a happy chorus of different languages. Human kids played games with young Zephyrians, whose blue skins sparkled in the sunlight. Corvin teenagers helped smaller children carry their books, showing a gentleness that surprised even their own people. Any sign of them yet? Asked Dr. Amy. Rodriguez joining Marcus at the edge of the landing pad. Not yet, Marcus replied, shading his eyes as he looked up. But Roy said they should arrive this morning. Haven had grown beyond anyone's wildest dreams. What started as one city now spread across 3 continents. Over 8,000 children called it home, and more arrived every week. The Galactic Council had officially recognized Haven as a neutral sanctuary world. It's protected by law from any military action. But none of that mattered to Marcus right now. He just wanted to see his daughter again. Sam Parker walked over from the control tower. Got a signal from an old transport ship requesting permission to land. The pilot says he's carrying special passengers. Marcus felt his chest tighten with excitement and nervousness. What if Katie didn't recognize him? What if she was angry that it took so long to find her? What if she had changed so much that they couldn't connect anymore? Marcus, Dr. Rodriguez said gently, seeing his worried expression. She's your daughter. That bond doesn't break, no matter how much time passes. A small ship appeared in the sky, moving slowly toward the landing pad. It was an old cargo vessel, the kind used by traders and travelers who couldn't afford better transportation. As it got closer, Marcus could see that it had been repaired many times with different colored metal patches. The ship landed with a soft thud, and steam hissed from its engines as they powered down. Marcus took a deep breath and walked toward the loading ramp as it lowered. The first person to emerge was an elderly alien with long silver hair and kind eyes. He moved slowly, leaning on a walking stick carved from some exotic wood. This had to be Keeper Voss, the Etherean who had taken care of Katie and the other lost children. Behind him came a group of young beings, humans. Zephyrians, a tall young. Corvin and several species Marcus didn't recognize. They looked around Haven City with wonder, taking in the beautiful buildings and the gardens full of earth and alien plants growing together. Then, Katie stepped off the ship. Marcus's breath caught in his throat. She was 13 now, almost as tall as Dr. Rodriguez. Her brown hair was longer and braided with small colored beads. She wore simple traveling clothes. But she carried herself with the confidence of someone who had led others through difficult times. For a moment, they just looked at each other across the landing pad. Marcus saw his little girl in her face. But he also saw the strong young woman she had become. Katie saw her father, older and grayer than she remembered, but with the same determined eyes that had always made her feel safe. Then Katie smiled, and it was exactly the same smile she had given him at the spaceport 4 years ago. "Hi, Daddy," she said, walking toward him. "I told you that you would find me." Marcus couldn't speak. He wrapped his arms around his daughter and held her tight, feeling like a part of his heart that had been missing was finally back in place. "Missed you so much," he whispered. "I missed you too," Katie said. "But Daddy, look what we both built while we were apart." She pulled back and gestured toward Haven City. "You created everything I dreamed about, a real home for all of us." Keeper Voss approached them, moving slowly on his walking stick. "Must be Marcus Kane," he said in a voice like gentle wind. "Katie spoke of you often. She said her father could make impossible things happen." "She learned to do impossible things too," Marcus replied, not letting go of Katie's hand. "We took care of each other," Katie said, "just like you taught me. But Keeper Voss taught me something else, that taking care of others is how we take care of ourselves." The group of children who had arrived with Katie were exploring the landing pad area. Marcus could see they were tired from their long journey, but their eyes were bright with hope as they looked around their new home. "How many children are with you?" Dr. Rodriguez asked. 17, Katie answered. "But there are more coming. Word is spreading through the outer rim that Haven is real." Some people didn't believe it until now. Sam Parker joined the group. "We've got plenty of room. The new residential district just opened last month." Katie looked at all the adults who had helped build Haven. "Thank you," she said simply. "All of you, for making this real." "We had help," Marcus said. "Beings from all over the galaxy contributed. Even former enemies worked together, because it was the right thing to do," added Captain Roy Fletcher, who had just arrived from his ship. "Sometimes it takes a human father and his daughter to remind the galaxy what's important." Katie squeezed Marcus's hand. "So what happens now, Daddy? Do we just enjoy having a safe home?" Marcus smiled and looked around at Haven City, then up at the sky where more ships would soon arrive, carrying more lost children. Now we make it bigger, he said. There's still children out there who need homes. We build more cities. Or even more worlds. More worlds. Katie's eyes lit up with excitement. Why stop at one impossible thing when you can do several? Marcus asked. Katie laughed, and the sound filled Marcus with more joy than he had felt in 4 years. I like the way you think, Daddy. Keeper Voss smiled at both of them. The galaxy is fortunate to have humans who refuse to accept that some problems are too big to solve. As they walked toward Haven City together, Marcus thought about everything that had led to this moment. It started looking for one lost little girl and ended up finding thousands of lost children. He had tried to bring Katie home, and instead helped her build a new kind of home that was better than anything they could have imagined. Love you, Katie, he said as they entered the city where human and alien children played together under 2 suns. I love you too, Daddy, Katie replied. I think our best work is just beginning. Above them, another ship appeared in the sky, carrying more children toward their new home among the stars. The search was over, but the building would never end. And that was exactly how both Marcus and Katie wanted it.